I'm Sarah from The Colorful Apple. In this video, I want to talk to you about helping families talk about books with their children. As teachers, we know that one of the most important things that kids can do to build their reading strength is to not only read every day, but being read to as well. Even if they can read on their own, it's still so important for them to be read aloud to. And we need to make sure that we are communicating that with parents, and so that they know that they should be reading aloud every night at home. The only homework that really is supported by research is nightly reading, and making sure that students have a wide variety of books at home, that someone is talking with them about books, that they are seeing role models. They see us as role models during the day as teachers, but then when they go home, they might not necessarily have that role model as an adult in their home. So we want to help parents, and there's some struggles, there's some reasons why parents aren't reading aloud at home, and often it's because they're facing some of these struggles. They're confused, they don't know what to read, they don't know what to say, they don't know what questions to ask or what to do next. So we need to help parents help their child. We need to guide them through these struggles. Families tend to overthink the process. They overcomplicate it and think that there's so many things that they need to do in order to read with their child. Really, all they need to do is read. But they want something to help them, to guide them. Since we read every day as teachers, we know how to interact with a book, we know how to engage students with books, and families might not know how to do that. So one thing I realized was that these parents were facing these issues, and that was the reason why my students weren't always reading at night. So I wanted to create something that I could help them, something that could guide them through a book, like kind of a cheat sheet, if you will, to help them interact with the book with their child, engage their child in the book, and help them figure out what books they should read with their child. So one thing I came up with is called at-home read aloud guides. They're super simple. They're one page, and I print it front and back. And there are 4 steps. So it talks about reading it, so they're reading the book with their child. The second step is chatting about it. So there are questions down here that are specific to the book. So this book that I have is Jabari Jumps, which is an awesome book, so I recommend you check it out. But they're discussion questions. So there's about 5 or 6 discussion questions specific to this book. They're not comprehension questions. They are discussion questions about how they connect the child to the book, how they can connect it to their world. What would they do if they were in the character's position? And these questions are very specific to the book. They're not just random overview questions. They're specific to what happens in the story. The third step that we have, and I don't make these parts a requirement, but they're to help parents if they really want to help bring that book to life. So there are maybe writing activities or drawing activities in the experience part, maybe a game that they can play with their family, conversations that they can have with family members or friends, or activities they can do to really bring the book to life and have fun with it. And then expand upon it is the 4th step that I have as part of the Read Aloud Guide. And that is find another book by the same author, or go to the library and research more about the topic, or try something if in the book. This book is about swimming or diving. Maybe they have a pool nearby they can go swimming in. So those are experiences to really bring the book to life for families. And it really answers that question of, what do I say to my child? What do I do next? How can I help them talk about the book? And these guides really get them started. And then once they start doing this and doing it every night, then parents understand how to talk with their child about books. They have that routine down. They know what kinds of questions to ask. So these guides really help get them started. So some of the benefits that I've noticed from these at-home read-alouds is it gives children access to books. Not all of my students in my class had books at home, or if they did, they only had a few. And so when I was asking them to read aloud every night, they didn't have anything to read. So what I would do is I would send home a book and a guide together. Oftentimes I would get a paperback book. I would get it for 25 cents at a yard sale. I would put them together in a small bag, or like a Ziploc bag, or a small pouch that they could take home and share with their families. They could have it for a couple days and return it. But it gave them that access to books. It built relationships between the student and their families. They were reading books together. They were talking about them together. They were doing fun activities about the book. It really gave parents the opportunity to have fun with their child, and to bond together over books. It built confidence, not only in my students and their reading abilities, but also in families. They now understood how they could read aloud with their child. They understood what steps they needed to take. They understood what kind of questions to ask, what kind of activities to do together. So it really built that confidence in both the families and the students, because students were enjoying books more and they were becoming better readers because they were being read aloud to at home. They were learning to make connections. A lot of the books and a lot of the discussion questions that go along with the book, and even the extension activities and experiences, helped them connect the book to their lives, help them connect books to other books, and even to the world around them. It really prompts them to think about the things around them, their world, and how they can connect the book and see that how much power a book has over their lives. It gave opportunities for student choice. The book bag, the at-home read-alouds, the at-home read-alouds, I have lots of them. There's over 50 of them that I've created so far, allowed my students choice in which book they wanted to take home to go along with the guide. There were so many that they had to choose from. I wasn't requiring them to read the same book or the same book every night. It's also building their social skills. A lot of the experiences and extension activities in the guides really encourage families to talk with each other, to have conversations, to communicate with their friends, with their family, or even bring something back to the classroom that they could talk about. So building those social skills is such an important thing in young students, and this gives them the opportunity to do that. It shows them that reading is not a solitary activity, and that it should be experienced with everybody. So those are some of the huge benefits that I saw from the at-home read-alouds. So if this is something that you would be interested in, I know that when I first started out creating all of the questions, all of the activities, and finding everything for these popular books took a lot of time. So to make it easy for you, I have created all of these guides. There's over 50 of them, like I said, in this huge binder. This is one way to store them. I have over 50 of them categorized into different themes or by different authors. For each theme, there's five or six books, or each author, there's 5 to 6 books, and so they're categorized in that. And so these guides gave families a routine. Every week they knew what to expect. They saw that every single one looks like this, but all of the activities, all of the questions are completely different for every book. That routine is the same, but they're getting new books, they're getting new activities, they're getting new questions to do with their families. So there's a link to the bundle right here. Each one is sold individually as well, so when you click on this link or when you go to this link, you will see all the individual ones as well. So if you only want to try out a few, that's up to you, but this is all of them together. So I hope that this is something that will help out in your classroom, that will help your students, will help your families in really building those connections around books.